have a couple of great guests in the studio with us today. Grayson, answer your question. You look at me.
Okay.
We have a conversation. This is Grayson, and this is Robert, and these guys are from PopCap, and you've just shipped a game.
Yeah, man.
It's called Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville. It's a brand new Plants vs. Zombies game. First of all, big round of applause for Plants vs. Zombies. What a franchise, right?
Cool.
Oh my God! How old is Plants vs. Zombies? How long has it been?
We've had a, well, I mean, you mean the whole...
Yeah, how long have we been playing Plants vs. Zombies games?
Over 10 years now.
Over 10 years?
Yeah. As far as the Garden Warfare series, it's about 6 or 7 years, I think.
Yeah, we just celebrated anniversary for that, I think.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so Battle for Neighborville, is it a direct sequel for Garden Warfare, or is it something a little bit different than that? What are you guys sort of pegging this as?
It's definitely something a bit different.
Yeah.
You know, if you played the PvE stuff,
Mhm.
that's a big departure from the previous games.
Yes.
And something else we really wanted to do with this one was kind of separate it with the way we're doing characters. You know, the way we're doing the different modes and stuff like that. So we're trying to make it, definitely trying to make it different, and also trying to focus on the battle for Neighborville. The other games kind of went all over the world and did some different things. We wanted to kind of ground it back and make sure the entire conflict is about this one area of the world.
Okay, very cool. Now, what do you guys do at PopCap? What's your job?
Go ahead.
So I'm one of the designers. I've been lucky to be able to have my hands in all sorts of different pies.
Yeah.
In this specific game, I worked on all the multiplayer game modes, as well as our PvE game mode. I also built Mount Steep, which is one of our PvE areas. And I also did a lot of our gnome collectible puzzle content for people out there that hate the puzzles. You can direct that at me.
I found the gnome shrine. I had to go all over the town. I was in the suburban area. I forget the town center.
Yep.
And I got underneath the sewer line and everything. And I was like, oh my God, I found this thing. It was like a real
maybe
moment.
a few more little secret
there's
areas
a lot
for
of
you to
those.
discover.
Yeah, I've been playing. Robert, what do you do on the game?
I'm the game director for the game.
Right on.
I was mostly involved with the PvE stuff. And I'm also heavily involved in all the live services stuff going forward.
Okay. Too. Well, I got the review code from EA, I don't know, 5 days ago. So I've been jumping in a little bit every day, and I've been playing with my daughter and my nephew. So it's super colorful and cutesy and kid-friendly, even though everybody's trying to kill each other like crazy in this thing.
Vanquish each other.
Vanquish, yes. I've been getting a lot of vanquishing.
Yeah.
But it is... there's a lot in this game. Like, it feels like you guys are trying to compete with any shooter out there right now. It's not just a kid-friendly type of experience at all, right? There's a lot of depth going on.
Yeah, we have a lot of different modes. We also introduced a new mode recently called Battle Arena, which is you know, another kind of competitive mode.
Yep.
And you know, we've always done the PvP stuff really well.
Yep.
This year we really wanted to also bring the PvE stuff up to the same kind of level, so we put a lot of effort into that. And then to your point, like the new characters, like we got some really interesting characters. We've got the Oak and Acorn, like these team play characters we think other games haven't done before, where you can combine a bunch of acorns together or space cadets and stuff like that. And so, yeah, there's a whole bunch of new stuff. You're right. The game is massive. And I think when we were building it, we had no idea it was going to be this big, too.
Was there ever a, a path that you guys might have been taking where it was like a full, just like a single player campaign with a story and stuff, and then a multiplayer experience? Because it feels like there is narrative, that you guys built a lot of story around all of this stuff. Or was it always a little more open-ended, sort of, getting you up to speed with what multiplayer would feel even in the PvE area?
We definitely went back and forth. There was always going to be multiplayer, and there was always going to be PvE for sure.
Oh, there always was?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the question was, how much PvE? And as we started developing the PvE, it became a lot bigger as we realized we really wanted to kind of blow this out and make it really special.
Yeah.
And with that said, though, we also didn't want to have like this kind of big narrative. Mm-hmm. So every map has its own story. Even the multiplayer maps, they actually all tell a story. Yeah. And then the PvE stuff, you can play, like if you go into Town Center or Mount Steep like you were doing, that has its own contained story. Yeah. So we wanted to be kind of piecemeal, almost like you on Netflix, you want to watch a couple episodes tonight. Cool, you can kind of get that whole kind of story structure, and then you can go play a different PvE region later on and get a different take.
That's awesome.
To kind of expand on that, we built a lot of different versions of the game through development, and then as we play them together and iterate on them, we kind of decided what's the most fun version of this game that we can come up with.
Yeah, and I guess one of the challenges that you have is that this is a character-rich universe, right? And it started as a tower defense kind of franchise, and it was all about all of these different units. So if you chose one character to focus a story on, it's kind of removing the access to everybody that you've got as a pillar for the
That's
franchise.
one of our big pillars is play the game the way you want.
Right.
So if you want to play as one character, you can do everything as that character. If you really like this other way, or you want to play, couch co-op with your brother or your sister, your kid, you can play the whole game that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So walk us into designing the characters, because obviously there's a 2D, sort of history of Plants vs. Zombies as a strategy type of experience. Do you work off of those initial concepts and those initial pencil drawings, or do you kind of keep embellishing and keep building from the ground up every time you take another swing at the game?
So I think for this game, because like some of the earlier games, we had some characters that were pulled more directly from the top-down games, like you said.
Yeah.
And this game, it was, the focus was what's gameplay first? What kind of gameplay holes are we trying to fill? What kind of gameplay needs? Take like Oak and Acorn, for example. We really wanted a game where, I got my own son. I want to play with him. When he was younger, he wasn't, couldn't move around as easily.
Yeah.
And being on top of Acorn being on top of Oak made that kind of like this perfect kind of turret mode. But now that my son's older, he's way better than I am. So when we started these characters, it was basically what's the gameplay first, figuring that out. And then from there, let's kind of concept out what kind of plants or zombies kind of make sense for those characters.
Yeah, I guess you have a lot of tools in the toolbox. You've got lots of history with characters. So you guys just did it, how did you start with just sort of, boxes and shapes?
Yeah.
Just got everything kind of playing and feeling good and then put the characters to that?
I think it was kind of a mix, because we definitely did have a couple characters that we were like, oh, we know we want to try and make something that fits this kind of character from the mobile franchise.
Right.
But in a lot of cases, it was like, okay, we've made a bunch of just like block characters with a bunch of cool abilities. What's the most fun? Okay, now how do we create a cool theme and narrative wrapper around this character? How does, if he's got a dash ability, well, what does that really mean for that kind of character?
Yeah, it seems to me that it's you have defensive capabilities and you can drop the turrets and stuff, but it isn't as front and center as it was with Garden Warfare. It feels like you guys shifted over into a little bit more accessible for shooter fans this time. Was that deliberate?
That was definitely deliberate. Yeah. I mean, like you said, we want to make sure we appeal to young kids, adults as well, and make sure everyone can be competitive in the game.
I have to ask, is Fortnite a target? Is the success of Fortnite something that you guys said, well, we can shift into that direction with this brand?
I don't think so. I mean, I'll be honest, Fortnite Battle Royale, we never really felt Battle Royale was the right fit for our brand right now.
Sure, yeah.
Plants don't kill plants, zombies don't kill zombies. So
right.
It wasn't the right thing. We always wanted to make our own kind of game.
Yeah.
We're big fans of Fortnite, play that all the time, but definitely that was not something we were trying to replicate with this at all.
Okay. Yeah, this is a big EA game. It's a big franchise, and obviously it's in the news. I talk about loot boxes and microtransactions pretty much every episode of EP. I know people are going to be curious about the way the economy works in the game, and if they're going to. Well, first of all, it's not a full priced game.
Correct.
It's a little bit less expensive. It's about $29 or $39.99.
I think it's $39.99. Yeah.
In the States, okay, so it's a little bit less. But then, what about the access to content? Is that something that people are going to have to keep buying to access stuff, or how are you guys doing that?
So when you buy the game, it's all the PvE content, all the multiplayer content, PvP content, it's all there.
Yep.
We have this thing inside the game called the Mystery Wardatron 9000. It's the machine.
Yes.
So as you play the game, however you want, you're going to collect coins. And you go up to this machine and you put your coins in, and it's going to pop out some piece of customization.
Right.
And everything in that machine is, you bought the game. It's all yours. This is just the mechanism you can get it out. You can't use real world money to get it. There are no paid loot boxes in this game at all.
Cool.
There won't be. So that's a big thing for us.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But it's a live game though, right?
Yes.
You guys are launching with it's really crazy big, and that's why I haven't reviewed it yet, because I keep sort of uncovering new things every time I get into it. But you're launching with 3 different areas.
There's 4 PvE regions.
4 PvE regions.
Yep.
Okay, why don't you run through those for us?
Yeah, so there's 2 for plants and 2 for zombies.
Okay.
There's Mount Steep, Weirding Woods, and then there's Town Center for the plants and zombies.
Okay.
Each of those regions has its own series of narrative quests. So in Boss, you have to find chests. You got all the gnomes that Grayson here built and all the crazy challenges.
These are big worlds, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not just like a map. It's like these are worlds where it feels like a bunch of maps all stuck together in a way.
It feels like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It was bigger than we intended to build.
Yeah.
For sure.
We definitely ran into like, okay, this is where we've built this area and we've committed to saying we're going to do this.
Yeah.
But also we have this really cool idea, so I'm just going to add this cave over in this corner.
Yes.
And then another one.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot
one.
of verticality. You'll see mountains, and you can climb all the way up to the mountains, and then you'll get into boss battles in the PvE. You can also go on bounty hunts where you're chasing down some big guys. I've been playing. I've been having fun.
That's awesome.
I've been getting my butt kicked a little bit, but doing some killing of zombies. I've been mostly on the plant side.
Yeah.
And then so that's the PvE.
Yeah.
But then multiplayer is a huge. I mean, is it the bigger chunk of the game? Do you think, or is PvE the bigger part of it?
It kind of depends. I would say they're probably both about the same, like both from effort standpoint.
Okay.
And by the way, that's not all the PvE. There's still ops, which is our kind of like endless kind of you get waves of enemies and you get bosses. So we have that.
Okay.
But on the PvP side, you're right. Then we have classic Team Vanquish, which is plants versus zombies get the most vanquishes. We've got our mix modes, which is a bunch of other modes like Suburbanation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We've got our classic Turf Takeover, which is objective based. You kind of travel to different objectives, and then the big new one is Battle Arena, which is my favorite. Which is we bring it down to 4 versus 4. It's a best of 7 series, so you have to win 4 games to win the match. But after every single game, you can't use the characters from the previous games you've used before.
Oh, okay.
So your
previous rounds.
Yeah.
This is a little bit like gunfight in Call of Duty.
Oh, I haven't played that yet.
In Modern Warfare.
It's kind of similar.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The
other thing I want to say is we also have weekly events that are going to keep rolling over.
Right, and you're in the Halloween world right now, right? Like
so that's our festival.
Monthly events.
Yeah.
But the weekly event is like a multiplayer playlist that you can jump in.
Okay.
And each week that's going to change. And I can't say what's coming up, but we have some interesting twists on our other game modes coming out there, and we're just going to keep adding stuff.
And more worlds and things too as we go, or is that TBA?
Bit of a TVA. I mean, we will be introducing new levels for sure. Yeah. But what those are, can't talk about quite yet.
Okay. All right. Well, talk to me a little bit about the players of Plants vs. Zombies, because obviously, if you play the tower defense game, that's a very different game on mobile than this kind of an experience, and if this is even different than Garden Warfare. Are you kind of targeting, no pun intended, sort of the parent crowd now? Is that a big part of the demo for a game like this?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely kind of like so the rating's like E10 for everyone.
Yeah,
and we want this to be enjoyed by everyone. I make the comparison to like if you watch like a really good Pixar movie as a kid, you're gonna enjoy it. As a parent, you're gonna enjoy it for different reasons.
Sure.
And I feel like we're trying to do the same thing here. We kind of have content that can be enjoyed by different levels of skill level and different types of people.
That's awesome.
I often see comments on like Reddit or Twitter or something like that. People that say, I picked this game up for my kid, and he played it for a while and really enjoyed it. And then I tried it with my wife, and now we've been glued to it for 6 months.
Yeah, I guess that must happen too. And I bet there's probably crossover from hardcores that play something like Call of Duty. Yeah. That play this as a, they're still sort of using mechanics they're familiar with, but it's kind of a way to unwind in a way.
Some of my friends, when they come to check it out, they're like, oh yeah, I'll come check out this game you're working on. And then they play it and they go, actually, this is really deep.
Yeah, it is really deep. And you used Frostbite for this one. Is this the first Plants vs. Zombies on the Frostbite engine, or have you been doing it for a while?
Doing it for a while. We definitely did a big rewrite of our engine this year. We wanted to improve the graphics tremendously, make some bigger levels and stuff like that. Yeah. So there's a huge rewrite for this year.
Okay. Yeah. Any Battlefield Easter eggs or anything like that? Any other EA shooter, Medal of Honor type stuff that pops up in this game?
No other games like that. There are definitely Easter eggs. People have found some of them in the game already, but not all of them. And I won't say what they are, but yes, there's definitely stuff in there.
You guys are vets. You both worked in the games industry for a while. What is it about working on a Plants vs. Zombies game that's fun and special and makes you still want to go to work even though you've shipped the game and you've launched it, now the work really begins?
Yeah, go ahead.
For me, it's the creative freedom. So I've worked on I don't want to say specifically, but I've worked on some projects in the past where we have a very specific IP and we have a lot of constraints. Whereas working on PvZ, sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night with a fever dream and I'll like jot something down, email myself, and come to work the next day and be like, space gumball something, I don't even know what the heck that is, but we'll prototype something, and if it's fun, it goes in the game.
That's cool.
Right? So it's just, and the people have been just super fun to work on with this project.
I could sum it up with, we had this one meeting where myself, lead level designer, art director, lead writer, we spent an hour just talking about how a stink bomb should work. And like that's the kind of stuff you can only do in Plants vs. Zombies.
That's
you can't
cool.
do that with other franchises for sure.
Yeah, and the stink bombs are brutal in this game. I got trapped in one of those things. You guys are not messing around with those stink bombs.
It's a real stink bomb.
Yeah, it really is. You guys got any questions for Team PopCap? Yeah, Sway.
Snapdragon. Easy. First one I mastered.
That's the flamethrower one, yeah? He's great.
Mine's definitely
awesome.
Acorn, because again, he transforms into the oak, and then you can have up to 3 other acorns on top of that oak. So you can have a 4-player kind of tank vehicle moving around. It's a lot of fun.
This one is it's a great one from Marco A, and I guess it's akin to Star Wars. Will there ever be peace between plant and zombies kind? Ceasefire could be brokered by Commander Shepard, maybe.
Oh, maybe, yeah. I mean, who knows what the future holds for peace between this war? I mean, it is called Battle for Neighborville for a reason, so who knows?
Yeah, I guess you could go back and forth. Now, this is this brings up a good point, because obviously this is a franchise that has cross-pollinated across many things.
Good job. Good job. You're clearly a dad.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the first time that joke's ever been made.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. Is there other stuff coming with this? Is there a comic series? Is there animated things? Is a toy line? What's kind of coming ancillary wise to?
The one thing I can talk about is there is a comic that like every one of our games so far has had a comic attached to it. Yeah. And there is a comic that I'm not sure exactly what the release date is. It might even be out now or soon, but there is a comic attached to this game.
They talked about that on the live feed today, and I wish I remember exactly what they said, but it's soon, coming out soon.
That is cool.
Beyond that, I'm not at liberty to say.
Okay, got you. Now, obviously, the mobile game is still super popular. When you launch a huge sort of console and PC experience like this, do you tie it into the mobile game at all, or other than just like promotion, or do you send them assets or units or anything like that they incorporate into the mobile game?
I think right now we really wanted to focus just on making this game.
I'm not trying to give you guys more work. Yeah. I'm just curious.
But I mean that'd be some great stuff to do. For sure.
Yeah. Jamie Andrews asks, "What are your favorite things about the creative process in making Plants vs. Zombies?" I kind of just asked that, Jamie. You just tuned in, didn't you, buddy? This guy has good thoughts about some of the meetings that he's had, and this guy gets to have crazy fever dreams, and then they make them at work.
Stink bombs.
Stink bombs. Yeah. That's great. Question, I really love Plants vs. Zombies 2 for Android. Will there be a number 3 from Ramses the Great? You guys can't answer that, can you?
I can. That's a different team altogether.
Yeah. Do you guys have big Plants vs. Zombies meetings with the whole collective?
We do have meetings where we have, with the, I've definitely talked to the people on the other teams for sure. Yeah. But in the end, it's, with our game specifically, it was like we really wanted to focus on our title being its own thing. Yeah. So, and to your point, I can't really speak for other teams and what they're working on.
Fair enough. Garden Warfare was the gift that kept on giving, wasn't it?
How so?
Well, just it was a big success, and it kept growing and growing and growing, right?
Yeah.
There's still lots of people.
We even surprised ourselves a little bit with how popular it ended up becoming, which is great for us.
There's still a lot of people that play too. It's definitely still very popular. Yeah.
Do you guys have suspicions of why it connects so much with people? Yeah, because when I remember, I've been covering the biz for so long. I remember, of course, when they launched the announcement that this was coming, and all of us journalists were like, "What the heck? What is happening?" We're watching a first-person shooter or a third-person shooter with plants and zombies.
Something I always see come back over and over from fans is they really enjoy that it's just a casual game. They can jump in, play with some friends, have some fun. It's not high stress. Yeah. It's not, I'm going in and I'm playing ranked and I lost a game and I just undid all my progress from last week and now I'm stressed. It's just you jump in and maybe a pea shooter wearing a fluffy chickpea outfit blows you up, but whatever, I respawn, I jump back in.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and I it must feel a little bit like that to make the game too, right?
Yeah.
because you know that there is a self-referential and self, not deprecating, but you don't take yourself too seriously in any of this stuff.
Yeah, you definitely try not to. I mean, you're trying to have a lot of fun.
I've never seen him take himself serious.
Sam I Am 111 asks, how do you retain the essence of Plants vs. Zombies when adapting the IP into new genres? That's a good question.
That's interesting. I mean, yeah, I guess I look at the PvZ franchise. It's really about the characters, and I think you can use the characters in a lot of different genres potentially. And there's a lot of breadth to it because of that. So I think it just opens up a lot of possibilities. Each different plant has its clear own abilities. We're so lucky to have that. A lot of franchises they have a lot of characters maybe that feel the same.
Yeah.
So I think it makes it actually our job really easy in that sense.
Yeah.
And I would love to see it, to expand beyond just what we have now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was just gonna give a shout out to our character team, our animation team. They've done such an incredible job of bringing these characters to life.
They did.
It really feels like it's almost like a Pixar movie in terms of quality of the squashing, the stretching of the face as they run around and shoot.
Yeah, it's really impressive. It just you're overwhelmed when you turn it on. There's a lot of different directions to go and lots of characters that don't quite know what to do, but you're having a good time right away, which I guess is intrinsic to the design of this one, right?
Yeah,
it's one of our goals.
Yeah,
for sure. Get people into the game right away. Let them choose what they want to do right away, and don't put a lot of stress on it. If you happen to be vanquished in the PvE stuff, there's no real penalty there.
Yeah.
We want you to keep going and explore that stuff at your own pace.
And the rewards are fast and furious in this game, man. They keep coming. Are there plans for more new DLC characters in the future? From Farimer.
Can't really talk about that too much.
Yeah.
I'd like to, but can't really talk about that too much. At some later point, we'll talk more about our plans down the road.
Okay, we'll have you guys back.
Yeah.
Are any of because I know that Plants vs. Zombies, there was a Seattle connection in PopCap and there was a Vancouver connection. I don't know the roots of where Plants vs. Zombies started. Did it start in Vancouver or did it start?
The top-down version, from my understanding, started in the Seattle studio.
Okay.
So that's where the 2D games are made.
And so they continue to be made down in the Seattle area.
Correct, yeah.
Do you have any of the team members that worked on the original Plants vs. Zombies now working with you guys here? Or?
We have people who worked in the original Garden Warfare game still here, but not the original top-down one.
Okay, very cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, you guys have made a very fun game. I'll have more to talk about with Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville next week, but it has been a pleasure to have you both on.
Pleasure, man.
Awesome.
And I
really
hope you come back. And Grayson actually went to this school here at the Vancouver Film School, which is so cool.
Yeah. I graduated in class 08, which was 11 and a half years ago. And I'm also a mentor for the design program.
Game design program.
Yeah.
So cool. So you guys, you can come and watch interviews like this live anytime you want to at the VFS Cafe at 390 West Hastings. Thank you both. Good luck with the game, and I'll be playing.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks. You guys.